Alright guys, how's it going? And welcome to Lower League Talk, the show where we'll cover all things outside of the Premier League. We're bringing you reactions, roundups and previews, as well as all the latest transfer news from the Football League. So let's crack on with today's show. So this is going to be a pilot episode, it's going to be the first episode that I put out. I've got some notes written down of topics that I'm going to discuss briefly. Unfortunately this week there wasn't a lot of time for me to go out and get all the information that I needed. So mainly we'll be discussing the Championship this week. We do go into Leagues 1 and 2 briefly, as well as I'm going to be giving you all my predictions for the promoted and relegated teams from each division come the end of the season. I'll also be looking for guests to come on each week and preview the upcoming week and talk about their clubs a little bit more. Maybe transfer rumours that surround their club and results that they've had in previous weeks. So let's start off with the Championship and probably one of the biggest stories of the summer this year, and that is of course Blackpool. Now, for anyone that follows, football outside of the Premier League, really it's been quite big. People should know that Blackpool are in a bit of trouble. They've not been provided with the money that they probably should have done due to the chairman hanging on to quite a lot of their parachute payments from the Premier League. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs. This is just what I can gather from what I've been reading. So for most of pre-season, Blackpool have only had, I think it was 9 players. One game that they played, they had 9 trialists, which means that there was only 2 players in that squad, or that first 11 for that game, that were actually signed on. But they're looking a little bit healthier now. They've signed a few players this week. They signed Joe Lewis, a goalkeeper, on loan from Cardiff, I believe. A few other players, including Deveron Daniels, Peter Clark, Jacob Mellis, which is a great signing for them. Nathan Delfonso, former Villa man. And also they've signed, I think, Ishmael Miller as well tonight. So that's another big signing for them. But they are looking a little bit healthier now, which is nice to see, because it looked like at one point they wasn't going to have enough players to even register a starting 11 for the start of the season. So that could have been quite tragic. What's going on there, I'm not really sure. I mean, if we've got any Blackpool fans in the comments, let us know what your understanding is. Let us know your takes, and yeah, give us a little bit more information if you can. But joining Blackpool after being relegated from the Premier League are Cardiff, who have boosted their firepower in front of goal after signing Federico Makeda and Adam Lafondra, 2 great signings that have also scored goals in the Premier League. Makeda scored that wonder goal against Aston Villa a few years ago in the Premier League. That was a while ago now. But Adam Lafondra, very proven, in his one season that he had in the Premier League. I think he scored around 15 goals, which for a team that got relegated is fantastic. However, Cardiff have sold Stephen Corker to Premier League New Boys QPR, so we'll see how that affects them. Also, joining Cardiff being relegated from the Premier League was Fulham. Now they've increased their striking options at the top of the pitch after signing Ross McCormack from Leeds United for £11 million. Now I don't know about you, but £11 million for someone that's maybe had one good season in the Championship seems absolutely outrageous to me. £11 million. That is a lot of money, especially when you think that for double that amount, or less than double that amount, you can get yourself a Tony Cruz, who's just won the Champions League and the World Cup. It's absolutely crazy, the prices in England right now. We'll come on to that a little bit later on, because there's another deal that I want to talk about, which again is probably a little bit overpriced. Also relegated from the Premier League were Norwich, who today have sent out Ricky van Wolfswinkel out on loan to St Etienne for a season. Now, I know a few Norwich fans that were a bit not shocked, because it seemed like it was going to happen for a while, but maybe a bit, I'm not sure what the word would be to describe it. They sort of think that it would have been a good idea to keep him at the club after they've just been relegated. He didn't quite cut it in the Premier League. He scored, I think, the first game of the season. I think it was Everton. I might be wrong. He scored against the Header. I don't know if he scored again after that. But it was a really good header, to be fair, and everyone thought that he'd entered with a bit of a bang. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Maybe having him for a season in the Championship would have benefited him. The players that he's going to be coming up against, no offence to them, aren't as good as the Premier League defenders that you'll be facing week in, week out. They are still a very good standard, don't get me wrong. But it might have done him well to get a few goals under his belt in the Championship, learn the English game, toughen him up a little bit, and get on a good run of form. But it's not to be. They've sent him out to France, and I'm guessing maybe if they get promoted again, they'll look to bring him back in, or if not, I'm guessing he'll be offloaded to compensate for his wages, I'm guessing. So, I'm going to give you my predictions now for the Championship. Actually, before I do that, promoted from League 1 to the Championship were Wolves, Brentford and Rotherham. We'll take a quick look at some of the key fixtures from the opening weekend. You've got Blackburn versus Cardiff on Friday night, which is at 7:45, which when this video goes out, it will be tomorrow night at 7:45. I'm not sure, that might be on Sky Sports 1, I think it normally is. Millwall versus Leeds, which I'm sure will be a feisty affair, while on Sunday, Wolves will entertain Norwich, who we just mentioned there. So who do I think will be promoted and who will go down from the Championship? So promoted, I've gone for Wigan and Derby automatically. I think Wigan, if it wasn't for cup competitions last year, they probably would have sneaked in automatic promotion. So I'm going to go for them to be up there this year. Derby were very unlucky not to get promoted, losing out in the last minute to that Bobby Zamora goal. I think they'll be up there yet again. Maybe go for promotion this time automatically. They've got a very good manager in Steve McLaren, likes to play nice passing football. He's also brought in some really good players to accommodate that. Quite unlucky with the injury of George Thorne for 9 months. He's going to be a big loss as he was quite key for them last year. But I think they've just brought someone in from Real Madrid to compensate for that, so that doesn't look like it's a bad signing for them. And in the playoffs, I'm actually going to go for Cardiff, who I mentioned briefly earlier as well. I think just they've kept quite a lot of their squad together from last year, whilst adding options to the top of the park. So I'm going to go for them in the playoffs. If not, maybe Derby and Cardiff the other way around. Relegated from League One, from the Championship, sorry. I'm going to go Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham and Brentford. I'm not too sure why Sheffield Wednesday. They just didn't hit me as a club that... Maybe as a club they could stay at, but on the pitch, I don't think so. I think I've just sold Antonio tonight for £1.5 million. Wasn't quite sure who he went to. It might have been Leeds, actually. I'll be corrected, I'm sure, if I'm wrong. Birmingham having a lot of problems off the pitch. Have signed a few players, but I think the way they just scraped it last year, I think they're going to go down this year. And also Brentford, I think it's the first time in their club's history they've been this high up the Football League pyramid. So, in my opinion, that they're not the biggest club. They're not going to have the most financial backing, and I think that's all good in League One. You can probably just scrape through, but in the Championship, you're playing with some massive clubs who have been in European Cups. The Premier League recently are going to have parachute payments. I think they're having a new stadium built. Maybe that could give them a bit of momentum if they can stay up. But as it stands, I think Brentford will probably end up going down. So that's the Championship done with. League One, the breaking news this evening is that Britt Assombalonga has signed for Nottingham Forest in a deal worth £5.5 million. He signed a 5-year deal at the City Ground. This brings me back to the Ross McCormack situation, where £5.5 million for a striker in the third tier of English football is, again, absolutely outrageous. The third tier of English football... And he's had a good season. We all know that. He scored, 30 goals? But again, the jump from League One to Championship is massive. And one season for 5.5 million, in my opinion, is a bit overpriced. But he is still young. He's still got a lot of time. I think they could potentially end up making a bit of profit on him. Touching on Nottingham Forest quickly, I've just sold 2 of their players, Cal Darlow, and the other guy's name escapes me, it's the defender, to Newcastle without Stuart Pearce's consent. But it's been said that Stuart Pearce won't be stepping down from Nottingham Forest, but still, he wasn't very happy that the board went over his head. They went to him and asked him whether they thought it was a good idea. And he said, no, it's a shocking idea. Why would we want to get rid of 2 of our best players? We want to be, building a squad, not tearing it apart. But the deal went ahead anyway. They've loaned him back for the season, so they can find a bit of cover. But Stuart Pearce clearly not very happy with that. Not really gone into much detail in League One, unfortunately, just due to the fact that I really didn't have enough time tonight to go into it. But I am going to do my predictions. So for promotion from League One, I'm going to go with, maybe not in this order, but the two teams that I think will automatically go up, Leyton Orient and Sheffield United. And I think through the playoffs, after seeing some of the players that have been signing, Bristol City look like they could have a strong playoff push this year, or promotion push. So we'll see how that pans out over the season. Relegations from League 1 to League 2, I'm going to go with Notts County, Crewe, Colchester and Oldham. They're just my opinions. If you've got different opinions, we'd like to hear them. Put them down in the comments below, or you can tweet us. Obviously on Twitter at LowerLeagueTalk. The link will be in the description to that. So into League 2 tonight, Joe Thompson has signed a contract with Bury after only 7 weeks ago getting the all clear from cancer. Now, if any of you follow Joe on Twitter, you know his story. Like I say, he was diagnosed with cancer. I think he was with Tranmere, I believe. They stuck with him throughout all his treatment, etc. He didn't get a contract at the end of his existing contract, but he's been on trial with Bury, and tonight he has signed a contract with them. So congratulations to Joe, and well done for all your fighting. That's if you've not already, there's a hashtag Grow for Joe where people were like growing mustaches and their hair to crazy lengths. It was really cool to see. So congratulations to him. Plymouth boss John Sheridan hopes that Wales international Darcy Blake can prove his fitness to win a contract at Home Park. He's been on trial this week, training with the club. I think he actually played for them a few years ago, I seen earlier tonight. So that'd be quite a good signing. I think he was at Newport last year, so that'd be a really good signing for Plymouth. They're looking quite strong this year. While Portsmouth have signed Millwall defender Paul Robinson on a month's loan tonight. So another good signing there for Portsmouth, trying to get back into League 1 or higher. So predictions for League 2. For promotion, we're going with Shrewsbury Town and Luton to get promoted automatically, along with Plymouth. We'll see how that goes. And in the playoffs, I'm going to go with Burton Albion. Relegation was quite a hard one because there's a few teams I think that could be near the bottom. I'm going to go with Morecambe and Wycombe this year. From what I've seen last year, for those that don't know, I'm a Northampton fan. What I've seen last year, Morecambe and Wycombe were probably two of the worst sides that I'd seen. Wycombe maybe not so much, but Morecambe were terrible. Exeter could have also been in there. They're a very, very poor side from what I've seen. But hopefully we won't be in the same situation as we were last year. I'd happily take top half this year, or even top 14, as long as we're not in the same situation as we were last week. But I'll be doing a sort of focus on Northampton each week. Just covering a bit from there, because I know there's a few Northampton fans that will probably watch this. So that is going to pretty much wrap it up for this first pilot episode. It was just a quick preview of the start of the season. If you could, try and smash the like button for us, just to let us know that you want to see more. So thank you for joining me. Apologies if I didn't mention your club this week, but let me know in the comments which club you do support and what you'd like us to discuss about them next week, and we'll try our best to cover it, and hopefully we'll have some guests for you as well. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all next week. Peace.